Okay, guys, so I'm going to be talking about the possible greatest natural health tool that I've ever found in 30 years in natural health. Well, not possible really. It's the best I have found in 30 years. So um, let me give you a little bit of background first. So for those that don't know me, I'm a holistic health coach. I specialize in nutrition and detox. And I've helped many people over the years with serious health conditions ranging from, well, we're not allowed to say the words, are we? So let's leave that, but everything. Okay, so and the goal of natural health, instead of the goal of conventional health, is very different. So in natural health, what we seek to do is we seek to address the cause of the symptoms that are named as diseases by conventional health, things like cancer, Alzheimer's, autism, diabetes, etc., etc. So they've got these labels, these names, that they say this is a disease which we can't cure, but we're going to give you these drugs to help suppress the symptoms, and we're going to have to increase the drugs bit by bit by bit until you die, often of the medication that we're giving you for these symptoms. That's the conventional approach. The natural approach is to seek to address the actual cause, and to do that, what we do is we seek to rebalance the body, because what's happened to get into a state of disease, okay, the body has got out of balance, and so we're seeking to redress that balance. And oftentimes there's two main imbalances. So one of them, probably the most spoken about, is deficiency. So there's nutrients that the body needs, minerals, vitamins, amino acids, and so on, that they need to function. And if we become deficient in any of these nutrients, then that has an impact on the function of the cells and every part of the system of the body. And many nutrients work in conjunction with other nutrients. So you become deficient in just one, and it has a knock-on domino kind of effect. So one of the things that we seek to do in natural health is we seek to make sure that the body has all the nutrients, and that's very important. One of the things that I'm very much for is not doing the isolates. So there's a big move from big pharma really, but it's got into the natural health world where they look to take isolated nutrients in large quantities, often large amounts. Hey, I don't know who you are, but from Oklahoma. Good to see you on here. I'll find out who you are later when I get on Facebook. It doesn't show me a name, but hi. So I will see comments or questions if they come up, by the way, so feel free to ask any questions. But so nutrition then is very important. Now the second area, and we're going to get on to, I'm moving towards getting to the tool that I've found that's more powerful than anything I've ever found before. We'll get to that. But I'm just laying a background first. So first thing then is we're seeking to get the body back into balance. And when we do that, it has the amazing powers. Hey, Julie. It has amazing powers to heal. So all we're trying to do is get the body into a state where it can heal itself. When you're healthy and fit, you get some damage to your body. Let's say you cut your foot and it just heals. You don't have to think about it. You might clean it and put a bandage to protect it, whatever, but it will just heal. Unless you're out of balance and you're a diabetic, now it might not heal. So we have to get the balance back and then we can heal. Okay, so nutrition firstly. So the second thing that throws the balance right out, and this is a massive deal. This is bigger than nutrition actually, sadly, and that's that we're all being poisoned, and poison throws the balance out and makes you sick. Okay, so one of the other things that I've spent a lot of time doing is helping people remove a whole range of different toxins, everything from heavy metals like mercury and aluminum, barium, and so on, to radiation and pesticides like glyphosate and herbicides and all of this stuff. So the stuff that goes onto our body through personal hygiene products, perfumes and makeup, and the water we bathe in with the fluoride and the chloride and all of this, we're being bombarded with toxins. These all create imbalances. hormonal imbalances for one, but pH imbalances and a whole range of different imbalances. They also inhibit the body's ability to metabolize nutrients. So even if you're getting all your nutrients, if you're toxic, you might not be able to absorb them. So those are two major areas of imbalance that are created and that cause ultimately disease that the doctors usually completely ignore. If they do give you supplements, they'll tend to give you synthetic vitamins. And D, which isn't even a vitamin, they give you a synthetic hormone and they call it a vitamin, and it's horribly bad for you. And so on and so on and so on. So I've talked a lot about these areas, and I've helped a lot of people have major turnarounds when they address these two things. But there's something that I've been involved in for about 10 years, a different area of imbalance that's talked about less, although it's starting to be talked about more, it's talked about a lot less, and that's electrical imbalances. So we are electrical beings, okay? And there's been a lot of talk about being damaged by certain electrical things. So, for example, I'm just the thing that starts with that and then has a letter after it. That there's been a lot of talk about how that damages us, and it does. EMFs in general are disruptive frequencies that mess with our own electrical circuitry. Okay, so they create electrical imbalances, and that is very, very powerful, more powerful than most people think. There's not much talk about the other side of the coin, which is using electrical, or let's use the correct term, let's say frequency. Okay, so EMF means electromagnetic frequency, and they are, for the most part, harmful. Yes, Invisible Rainbow book, Bonnie's just mentioned, is a book that looks in depth at this and its link to disease, in particular flu. It's very, very in-depth book on the subject, but not read by that many people. It's quite thick and it's not the easiest read, but it's got a lot of great information in it. But anyway, so the electrical part of us, and actually, one of the things that not many people are talking about is the effect of electric cars. Aside from the environment and all the other things that we hear about, and it not having a battery that lasts very long, we're not hearing much about its effect on our health, because you're basically sat in a Faraday cage, a car, right, with the electric on the inside that can't escape. It's bouncing around in this little box with you. Very, very bad for your health. So we're being bombarded with these disruptive EMF frequencies, okay, which affect us greatly. Now, some people feel that effect more than others. Some people, if they get on a phone, you know, they start to feel a headache, or their hand starts to go numb, or different things. They feel it, but a lot of the time, the most serious damage is done when you're not feeling it. So we're all being Healing is Voltage, handbook by Terry Tennant. I haven't read that book, Anne, but that sounds like a very interesting book. But Healing is Voltage, yeah, that's so. One of the things that happens when we're electrically messed with is our voltage drops. So we hear people talking about, high frequency. I'm not operating on a high frequency. It's quite linked to the new age stuff and all that, which I'm not into. But there is a truth to it that we vibrate, or our frequency is our cellular frequency is a very high frequency. The Earth, for example, is a very low frequency. So our frequency is measured in terahertz, which is trillions of cycles a second. The Earth is measured in hertz, which is one cycle a second. Or if it's 7 hertz, that's 7 cycles a second, and so on. So we are high vibration beings. So many of you will have seen an experiment with tuning forks, where you get 2 tuning forks next to each other like this, not touching but separated, and then you ping one of them, and it starts to resonate and vibrate, and then this one here that has never been touched starts to vibrate in sympathy. So they're both going, even though it's not being touched, it's affected by this one. Well, if you think about a 5G tower, okay, that's one of the tuning forks, and you are the other one, and it's resonating at this very bad frequency, and it's affecting you. Okay, so that affects your health. So what happens is your charge, your vibration, your voltage drops. Okay, so that doesn't just happen if you're attacked by disruptive frequencies. It can happen for other reasons. For example, if you get sick because you're poisoned, your frequency will drop. Okay, so what happens when your frequency drops? Okay, is your cells get less energy, less voltage, less power, less energy. If you've ever used a mouse like this one, okay, so this is a wireless mouse. Most of us have used a wireless mouse. If you've used one and the battery voltage drops to a certain point, what you find is your little cursor that goes around your screen that normally smoothly like this, it suddenly starts jerking and it's like trying to get it around the screen. And it's a bit of a nightmare. And then you pop in some new batteries, or if you have rechargeable batteries, you charge up your batteries and you pop them in, and suddenly all beautiful again, all smooth. Think of it, same kind of thing in your cells. As your cells drop in voltage, okay, they start to lose functionality. They start to not operate properly. They have less energy. And if you have enough cells that have less energy, what happens is you, because you're made up of all these cells, if you think of those cells like cells in a battery, you're the battery, and that your cells are the cells of that battery. If enough of them have a lack of energy, then you have a lack of energy. You might get to the point where you have chronic fatigue. You can't get up in the morning, whatever it may be. Just energy is low. And if you use a bit of energy, for example, you have a big meal, or you go out and do something that's like mow the lawn or something, and your energy drops because your energy is already low. You just use a bit, and your energy drops. Those of us that were boys with remote control cars will know all about that. Your car zips off very rapidly. When I was a kid, the battery would die and they'd be like this. So some of us, as we get older, we feel a bit like that, and it's to do with the energy in our cells dropping. So we all talk about, as I began, we talk a lot about rebalancing nutrition, rebalancing by removing toxins and getting the toxins out of our body, rebalancing liquid so that we're hydrated properly and what have you. We even talk about pH. Most of that information is wrong, but anyway, there's a basic truth there. We do have to be within certain pH ranges, but how people say it should be done is not usually accurate. But anyway, all these things need to be in balance. How do we balance electrically? Well, one thing that's been talked about for some years, which is not subject of my topic, but still is worth mentioning, is there's something called grounding. So grounding is where we go out and we get our feet on the ground, especially damp ground, or even stand in the water in the ocean or something at the edge, is what I like to do, and connect to the earth. And what this does is it allows us to discharge some of the negative energies, some of the bad energies, the disruptive frequencies in our body. We're connecting and we're earthing, and we can get rid of it. So that's one thing that we can do that's shown many, many health benefits. It's not always practical for those people that live in places like get very cold in the winter and so on, but where we can, that's something very, very good to do. So I highly recommend that. I've done that for years. I usually every summer. I'm in the winter here, by the way, for you guys in the States and what have you wondering. I'm in Brazil wearing a jumper. Yeah, it's not super warm right now. I think it's about 16 degrees, which is freezing for me. Anyway, so what can we do to recharge? Well, if you think again back to a battery, and you can have a battery charger, assuming you have a rechargeable battery. Luckily, we're rechargeable batteries. So we put the battery in the battery charger and it charges it up. Could we do something like that? Yes, we can. We can actually do something like that. So I'm going to show you what I've been building up to now. For those of you that don't know, I think many of you will know because I've been talking about this for a little while. But this is what I'm talking about. Okay, this is a terahertz gap device. This blasts terahertz frequencies along with some other things, a certain type of optical light, and uses quantum and different stuff. But this This is a device that you aim. It's not on. Because it actually makes a noise and it's going to interfere with me talking. But you aim that at a person and blast terahertz gap frequency. So what a terahertz gap? So it's the only device in the world. Well, actually, there's a couple of versions of it, but it's the only device in the world that actually has this particular range of frequency called terahertz gap. It's called gap because there was a gap that in terahertz because no devices had it. This was a little bit that they couldn't do. They now can do it. Okay, so this machine, and what I want to say, I've never seen any device in my life, any supplement, anything, do more, get better results faster for more things than this device. If there was a real magic bullet, which the mythical magic bullet people talk about, if it existed, it would be this. This is as near as I've seen to that magical mythical bullet. Okay, it is amazing. Just last week, I had a guy come in here in pain, 7 to 8 on a scale of 1 to 10. Horrible back pain. In fact, he had to have an injection just to get himself here. He was in such pain. 20 minutes after, he was dancing and he told me he loved me just because I used this machine on him. I'm seeing people with eyesight issues. I've got to be careful what I say. But what I will say is it works on a massive range of symptoms that are caused by this low voltage. It's rebalancing you electrically, it's rebalancing your brain, it's rebalancing every cell in your body. I'm seeing people with neuropathy that have had dead feet for 10 years suddenly have feeling again. I am seeing miracle after miracle after miracle. So this device, hold on, I've got more messages. I have both of those books. Okay. Oh, ebooks. Yes, I'd love you to send it me, Bonnie. Thank you. I've got the physical Invisible Rainbow, but the other book, Voltage Healing, Healing is Voltage. I would love a copy of that if you have one. Somebody's commented on electric blankets and hair dryers. So electric blankets and hair dryers, yeah, they're really bad. A lot of hair dryers give off quite a bit of radiation. This device gives none, by the way, no radiation at all. But hair dryers do. Sometimes quite high levels of radiation. Electric blankets, yeesh, horribly bad. So I actually sometimes want an electric blanket because but whatever. But I use a biomat. I don't know if you guys know biomat. That gives out infrared and it's quite good and it warms you up quite nicely if you're somewhere where it's cold. Anyway, somebody else saying they'd love it too. Yeah, I'm sure we'd all love that book. So this device then. I have a group. It's called, what's it called? Terahertz Healing, Terahertz Gap Healing. If you want to find it on Facebook, I'll put a link below where I give a lot more information about this. But one of the things about it is cost, right? And I'm saying that in a positive way. The cost is unbelievable. Now, usually these types of machines, there isn't another machine like this, but those that work in the frequency range like Rife and Spooky and all that, they're very expensive. They're still economical over the long term, but you're going to be parting with thousands. This machine in the US is $350 and in the UK is £359. And once you've got it, it's going to last years and years and years. It's much less expensive than supplements because those are things that you have to have every month and what have you. So the price is just absolutely amazing. But what it does is more amazing. So I really feel that if you get one thing in your house, you should get this one. And I have other reasons apart from what it does. Even if this wasn't the case, I would still say get this. But it's also the case, in my opinion, that in the future, the not too distant future, we're going to be struggling to be able to get supplements and stuff because I think there's going to be a massive and financial, and you're not going to be able to get them for a host of different reasons. So having a tool that you can use for years and years and years on yourself, your loved ones, your kids, your dogs, your cats, your fish. Seen testimonies of people's fish coming back, floating around on, belly up, and then they do the water. Oh, by the way, it also does restructure water and charge water. A lot of people have had amazing results just from the water after it's been imbibed with these frequencies. So that's kind of an overview. Yeah, mega important to add to one's prepping supplies. I agree. This should be in every prepper's bag of tricks. This is going to be a tool that it's invaluable, absolutely invaluable. So, like I say, that's an overview. I didn't want to spend too long going into too many details, but I have a group. I'll put a link below. I did give you the name, but I know what it's like in the middle of a video if you're not taking notes. I'll put a link to my group below, and also a web page that you can look at and find out more information. But if you only do one good thing for yourself this year, if you don't normally treat yourself or your family, whatever, get yourself one of these. Okay, you just have to do it. You just have to get one, and you will be like the gentleman that came here last week. You'll be loving me. I have lots of people loving me. He literally told me he loved me after his pain had gone from 7 to 8 to 0 in 20 minutes. Okay, so if there's any questions before I finish, then feel free to ask them. I'm just trying to look at. Okay, so somebody got an order into into the UK yesterday. So yeah, one of the problems with the wand, one of the problems is they are selling so fast they're having trouble keeping up with stock. So just be aware that there can be stock problems. If anybody wants to buy one, just let me know and I'll hook you up to the place that's most is going to get you the fastest delivery, because there's many places that stock them. There's 16 suppliers in the US, for example, and you need to make sure you're getting it from the one that doesn't have a 2 or 3 month wait, if that's possible. In Australia it's difficult because there's yeah, anyway, I'm not going to get into it. Okay, so there you go, guys. That is the best natural health tool in 30 years I've ever found. Never found anything even close to it. It's phenomenal. It doesn't do everything. I've got other tools. If I wanted to remove heavy metals from somebody's brain, I would use a different tool. If I wanted to make sure that they had every mineral and every vitamin in an organic food state form, I would use a different tool. But this is amazing. All right, hopefully you guys enjoyed that, and any questions, do let me know. If somebody wants to order one, also let me know. I've given you the price for UK and US, but maybe you're somewhere weird like Australia, in which case you'll have to check with me and I'll let you know. All right, God bless everyone. Have a great day. Bye.